may not be suitable for all audiences.
Hello, boys. Nice to see you. Please, have a seat.
Art 101 with Mr. Burgher.
Scholars, welcome back. It's Art 101 time with me, Mr. Burgher. I'm a professional artist and a master educator attempting to provide you with the best in art historical content. If you like the content, make sure you like, share, subscribe, interact. Do all those things that a good scholarly individual such as yourself would do with content like this.
I bought into it big time.
So today I'm here at the Sioux City Art Center in Sioux City, Iowa. Let's jump inside and take a look at their collection and get you some insights on the great artwork right in here. So I got in the vehicle and cruised my way out to Sioux City, Iowa and visited the Sioux City Art Center. And the origin story of this is pretty fantastic. It began as a WPA work project in 1937 during the Great Depression, and it has evolved into this absolutely beautiful structure. It contains 5 galleries that house and display their some 900 works that are a part of their permanent collection, as well as other exhibiting spaces in the facility that allow for touring exhibitions. And as always, when you're going out to visit these types of art centers and art museums and things like that, their permanent collection can rotate and shift and change. And so it is never a guarantee that what you see here is going to be seen there, even though everything we're going to take a look at today is a part of that permanent collection. But circumstances change over time, so be a little bit easy going and just go and enjoy the artwork regardless of what they have on display at any given time. So on with the show.
Best of luck, here goes.
An artist and educator based out of Omaha, Nebraska, Bart Vargas, absolutely phenomenal at using salvage and collections and the element of rhythm in creating these 21st century artifacts. Clearly, he's interested in the waste that is created by technical advancements, and this particular piece called There Are Places on the Map That Don't Exist from 2021. And it seems to be a really great, thought-provoking piece that, again, really caught my eye right away as I'm going through that permanent collection.
Holy moly! Look at all the crap you get, the stuff you got here.
Another really great piece is by George Ames Aldrich called The Mill Pond from 1919, which is an oil painting, a great example of his work. Now, it is claimed that he was a student at MIT, but we don't know that for sure. But what we do know for sure, that he was a product of the Art Students League in New York, a phenomenal institution known for producing really great artists. He went on and trained a little bit in Europe, in Paris, was very much influenced by the Impressionist trends, went on and got a little bit more training in Norway before returning back to the United States at the outbreak of World War I, where he settled in the Chicago area, and he would travel throughout South Dakota and Iowa and the Midwest because of some spouse-type issues that he had going on. At any rate, not to get into his personal situations, his artwork is created very much in a formula sort of way, and there are some people that see this as a negative, that he's always doing these things just as a process sort of work. But if the process works, you go with it, and this is very much the calling card of Mr. Aldrich.
Which was my way.
Mark Barone created Friday Night 1993, which is a great oil painting. He's born in Chicago, trained in Minnesota and Illinois, and again, we can very easily see that he has this human condition, this family unit that he is injecting into the subject matter of his works. This couple sitting there in this awkward sort of way, watching the television, It very much reminds me of the Friday night where Mr. Burgher's trying to not be awkward, trying to talk to Nikki and watch a movie and not be a weirdo. Oh, okay, I'm getting too personal on my own stuff, so let's just move on.
Look, don't flirt with me, okay? Let's keep this professional.
Robert A. Nelson is a Wisconsin native who was trained at the Art Institute of Chicago. This artist and educator was influenced by film, television, history, mythology, and so much more that would influence his artwork, just like this particular work, Canon Study number 14, Shaker Heights, Ohio, winter 1972, which he created in pencil in 1972, and I absolutely love the layers and the details that he brings out in this phenomenal work. What a great example, and it absolutely captivates my attention as I walk through and check out the works.
That damn Sasquatch.
An artist that never fails to capture my attention is Salvador Dalí, and this particular print called Journey to Bethlehem from 1984 is an etching with aquatint, and some people look at a work like this and say, what in the world is aquatint? Well, this is an etching process that creates tones rather than just lines. This is a process that began in the mid-1600s and kind of went out of fashion, then came back through rediscovery from the Impressionists, and it kind of went back out of fashion, and Salvador Dalí, being the artist that he was, included it into his repertoire of art creations.
I've heard it said that a while, yes sir.
An artist that we have talked about before on Art 101 with Mr. Burgher, as well as several of the others, Bridget Riley, the op art master. In this particular work, Ellipse, which is a typical Bridget Riley piece that she created in 1982, a screen print. We can see the rhythm and the lines and the colors. Absolutely beautiful. I love Bridget Riley's work. It just kind of dances around in your eyeballs like a shimmering pool, but I don't know. Let's move on. As I traveled around the exhibition space, I ran into this particular piece and my mind went bananas. This is a piece, Caruso Umbrella, created in 1979 by Claes Oldenburg. Now this is an interesting piece. It's an aquatint etching, as we just talked about. So it's a printing process that uses tone rather than just line, and he does this beautifully. And the subject matter of this is Caruso Umbrella, which is a very large monument sculpture that Claes Oldenburg would be commissioned to create in downtown Des Moines, Iowa.
What the hell is that?
The last artist that I want to talk about today is Grant Wood. I love seeing his lithographic prints, and this particular one in the spring from 1939 is absolutely a gem among the gems. Absolutely love this print, but you can't get out of the Sioux City Art Center without going up and taking a look at the Corn Room, which was also created by Grant Wood. This is a very early 1927 example of Grant Wood. To put it in context, this is about 3 years before he really broke it big with American Gothic. At any rate, we see a lot of the Grant Wood elements being created here in this mural. Now, the mural itself was actually created for the Martin Hotel, again in 1927, and in the 1950s, at some point, there was a renovation, and they ended up covering over the mural. They put plaster or wallpaper or some sort of covering over it, and it was just kind of buried in the wall. Well, fast forward to 1979, and there was a interview that took place in Sioux City with the painting assistant of Grant Wood. Now, the gentleman's name is Carl Ibers, and Mr. Ibers mentioned that this painting was probably still in there. They uncovered it. It was restored and pulled out of the wall, and then eventually found its way to the Sioux City Art Center, where it is to this day. Now, one of the more fascinating pieces to me about that interview is Mr. Ibers' account of how Grant Wood executed this mural. It was actually painted by subtraction. Now, you're probably wondering, what in the world does that mean, Mr. Burgher?
No need to snap.
Just a question.
What Mr. Ibers would do is he would apply a thin coat of paint and glaze onto the wall, and right behind him would be Grant Wood, who would go to work on that wet paint and glaze with a dry brush, a rag, and his thumb. And using a combination of these tools, he would wipe off the paint to create the stocks and the barn and the other buildings there and all of these other details within the work by removing paint rather than adding paint. So it's kind of a reverse sort of process.
What does he want here?
I tell you what, folks, if you're in the neighborhood of Sioux City, Iowa, it's not too terribly far from Nebraska. It's not too terribly far from South Dakota. Minnesota's not too terribly far. Right here along the Missouri River in the heart of the Midwest, Iowa. But again, if you find yourself here, I would highly encourage taking a little jaunt out to the Sioux City Art Center and taking a look at their awesome collection. Their stuff's always changing. But if you do find your way out here, make sure that they know that Mr. Burgher sent you, and Art 101 with Mr. Burgher helped guide your viewing experience at least a little bit. But what do I know? I color for a living. Maybe don't do that. I hope you enjoy getting that content as much as I love being able to bring it to you. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Is that the end then?
Yes.
I was quite enjoying that.
Good, I'm glad.